went into isolation because of either the world rejects both of us and our chosen path, i.e. we are unable to conform to normality and refuse to take the path society told us to take because we are different, or if we have a great personal mess to clean up and no one wants to help us, i.e. we are in a crippled state in terms of our physical and mental health, and our own grim circumstance of a lack of purpose and an unstable financial situation got us into a position where society wants no part in it and left us to fend for ourselves. Now, because of these initial roots of causation, the path of solitude is often accompanied with hatred and resentment towards everything and everyone that denies and ridicules your proposed attempts at conformity to be a part of the norms, and their reluctance to assist you at times of darkness and despair. They reject you because your path is unusual and does not align with their agendas, so it is your responsibility to prove them wrong, provide value, and claim your distinct place within it. And some of you bitter lone wolves might be thinking, I do not want to be used by society, they're evil. Do not be stupidly ignorant. You have to be somehow useful to mankind so that you will be rewarded eventually. Otherwise you will have no place in this world and you are genuinely on your own. They are reluctant to assist you in hard times because you are responsible for both the good and the bad in your own life, remember? So to hate the world for being unfair to you is like hating the lion for eating your own dog. It's their own respective nature to be both unfair and ruthless. You either play the game the way it's supposed to be played, create new and creative ways to play the game that most don't realize, or you simply exit the game and quit. Now let's discuss what makes isolation beneficial should you utilize it properly, and what makes them detrimental should you go overboard with it. Isolation is beneficial only if you have a clear and set purpose behind it, or if you are working to get your own shit together. Purely to isolate yourself because of the resentment due to you not fitting in or that society does not reward or assist you for being who you are in your current circumstances is a sure path to an insignificant and valueless existence that not even the wise would give a damn. Isolation is a gift for you to utilize in order to cultivate value in yourself in all important aspects of life. Whether it's about your physical appearance, mental strength, financial situation, ranges of skills or knowledge, whatever they may be, it is not a place where you pathetically wallow in bitterness, hoping that one day society will realize your worth purely as a living human being and start to treat you right. Absolutely not. Society will leave you for dead and would wish you to be dead if you have nothing to offer, because you are nothing but an inconvenience in this ever so evolving world that rewards power and value. This world we live in is a power-evolving universe, gentlemen. Weakness does not thrive and will not thrive. In order for isolation to work in your favor, it demands purpose. Now, because you have a clear purpose, or when you have a clear purpose, isolation allows you to focus and get rid of unnecessary and unrelated distractions. It brings you clarity of your own priorities because what isolation does is that it allows you to narrow down your judgments and identify the things that are important and not so important to you at that given circumstance or stage of your life. In a world full of seductive temptations and distractions that we live in, your mind becomes a clusterfunk and dumpster tier of choices that mostly do not align with your actual priorities, that you won't fully realize until you get rid of most of these irrelevant choices. Isolation will help you develop the capability to filter out all the things that are unnecessarily interfering with your peace of mind in order to get you closer to your objectives. Because more often than not, in our daily lives, we cluelessly allow things outside of our control to influence our decisions and actions. The reason for that is because in the modern world, we are conditioned to care too much about the opinions of others, and any wrong move could potentially damage our reputation and social acceptability. That is why a lot of the times we unconsciously force ourselves to compromise in order to maintain our status quo among the community. Being in isolation will get rid of that needless sense of conformity to people who can't even see or understand the world from your perspective. Isolation forces you to self-reflect, and because you don't have anyone to confine and share your thoughts with, you are bound to confine with yourself. You talk to yourself, confronting your own weaknesses that you wouldn't pay attention when you are clouded by distractions. Choosing a side between your ego and conscience, battling your own thoughts and emotions and trying to make further sense of them and how they impact your decisions to take action or to remain in inaction. You slowly yet surely become more honest and direct with yourself, and eventually will have a much better understanding of your own character both cognitively and emotionally, ultimately leading you to realizing what you truly want from your life from a viscerally personal point of view. The reality is, the most significant decisions that we made in our lives are made alone, in the reassurance of our own point of view, because no one can fully understand them but yourself. You will inevitably develop self-sufficiency, awareness, and reliance in isolation, which ultimately will make you less affected and dependent on other people's judgments. During COVID in 2020, most people can't even accept living in isolation for a long period of time, so they reject the idea and confine their emotions to social media to receive online sympathy and attention, thereby removing their position and opportunity to understand themselves better through isolation. Now let's talk about the cons of isolation. Now before I start, I'm going to talk about the cons from a context of someone who's been literally isolating themselves from the world, no online presence, and little to no human contact for months or even years. Years of isolation can be detrimental in terms of being aware and staying updated on new world information and circumstances. Remember, it is not only the strong that survive, it is also the ones who can adapt to any situations. Isolating yourself for years and just being too stubborn to further learn something new without keeping an eye on society will put you at a massive disadvantage, because what you used to know and believe will be much less or no longer relevant and applicable in the future, leaving you extremely vulnerable to what the world will throw at you. Remember, the most dangerous men are the ones who continuously listens, thinks, and observe, the ones who always seek knowledge and information. Do not ever underestimate the value and power of information, gentlemen. We can certainly develop the capabilities to survive on our own. However, we are social creatures by nature. We experience tremendous relief when we find others who think the same way as we do. Our state and feelings of authenticity is further amplified when we conform to people with the same value as us. And as much as individual lone wolves would like to think of themselves as the sole outlier among the herds of sheep in society, there are many other outliers in this world that share the same values as you do. So do not shun yourself further deep into the darkness and waste the opportunity to get to find like-minded people, especially in this day of the digital age where we can connect with people from opposite ends of the world and share ideas together to form purposeful tribes and help to cultivate one another in terms of knowledge and skills. We all have our limits, gentlemen, and as much as we want to be the jack of all trades, there are people out there who are better than us at certain things, and through their assistance we then can explore new dimensions of our own limitations, as would they through your assistance. Finally, lack of intimacy. All of us human beings by nature are evolutionarily designed to reproduce. Especially as men, we are biologically wired to spread our seeds as much as possible to ensure the survival of our genes in the form of our next of kin. In fact, most of our subconscious motivation in cultivating value for ourselves is to eventually attract a mate and procreate. You build your physique to attract women that you want, and you earn money to attract women that you want. As much as you want to deny it, as I did previously, it is simply the truth that will become self-evident as time passes. Now I know some of you lone wolves have bad experiences with women. That's why you avoid intimacy. That's why you put such a thick shield to avoid emotional attachments. However, to live alone for the rest of your lives, especially as you get older, will increase chances of you falling back into depression and eventually taking your own life. We have to solve our reproductive problems eventually, otherwise we can become sexually frustrated to the point where we have to find countless methods to sublimate our libidos, which can only take us so far. Relentlessly working on yourself and doing seed retention are just tools to help you get into a position where you can have better access to attract a potential mate that you want. To deny your most basic, visceral and natural instinct of wanting to reproduce is to basically deny your own humanity and of course, as men, your masculinity and its drive. Isolation is a gift for our soul to capitalize in order to get ourselves and our lives in good order, so we will be in a much better position to take on society when we finally emerge from the dungeon. It is not meant to be forever. None of us want to die alone and be forgotten because we haven't done anything significant of value in our lives to positively impact the people around us. It is a completely ignorant and pretentious mindset to want to live alone for the rest of your life. The resentment that you have for society is not because of them rejecting your differences and abandoning you when you are crippled. It is because of your own incapability and lack of drive to claim your unique place within it. Remember, if you can't play the game under normal procedures, find and develop new ways to play it. Thank you for watching.